Then finding the truth of it all. Only having understood the depth of deception could I begin to see what else had been hidden. The complicity still haunts me, but I'm seeing more clearly the big plan, how it had to work together. The media, the books, the literature, the programming, the Christianity, all of it. It was ghastly and fake. Why didn't I think? Why? Why didn't I require answers to my questions? Why didn't I trust God that the answers were there and that I didn't have to buy the BS line? Would the master creator that made all this magical perfection all around us mess me up and then slaughter his son to make me a sheep? Just to teach me to turn the other cheek and to give unto Caesar what Caesar's? No, when you get out of the Christian narrative, you actually find out you have a brain. And that brain is supposed to calculate and reconcile the most important factors of life. Why didn't I do that? I didn't trust God. I trusted man with his story, with his narrative. God is so all-powerful, so obviously evident in everything he made. Why did I believe the lie? I've been through the depression, the healing, and the renewal. Almost a year of the deepest depression of my life hit me. I felt like I'd lost everything. But the healing and the renewal came, and I'm stronger than ever. I've learned way more than any 70-year-old might ever expect to learn and to be able to digest. I feel like I'm in the middle of the outer limits and strangely prepared to face it. I feel like I've been in training all my life. Every 12,000 years, our Earth has a reset, a start over, like I clean the house, throw it all in the middle of the floor, shake it up, and then put it back. That's what happens. It's called a magnetic pole shift, and it happens every 12,000 years. I'm using average numbers. It's all designed in our world perfectly. The numbers are perfect. We've experienced 6 prior epochs or ages of 12,000 years. The next one has been calculated to end in 2046. This cyclical catastrophe is complicated, but once you begin to understand it, history comes together. Scientists trained by the academies have also been in the dark. How and why? They're scripted to think like the rest. There's only a small percentage that knows truth and works their whole lives to hide it. Because if they don't, their narrative, their plans are broken. In order for scientists to get money to do research, they have to give a plan. And if the plan includes anything that the government doesn't want known, no money. They don't have a solution. I believe they've been manipulating delays by manipulating our weather for a long, long time. Must be so frustrating for weathermen. Some of them I watch, they predict something and you can see why, but then within 24 hours, It's the weather's been manipulated, and the result's not the same. So what does Mother Nature think about all this manipulation of who she is? Yeah, right. This has been moving more quickly than what has been expected. It's been predicted. It's confirmed by NASA. I first uncovered it through Randall Carlson and learning about sacred geometry and numbers and how they all fit together. And that's when I learned about the Great Year. And every foundational religion or culture has left signs trying to tell us. In fact, it is my belief, and I haven't read it anywhere, but the pyramids, they were to protect the people from the cataclysms of the Earth Age change. It's very clear. It's very obvious. The tall buildings were to avoid a flood. There's so much that they've hidden, and the complicity again drives me nuts. I first started with Randall Carlson. I still follow him. I went to a weekend on catastrophism and learned all about the different signs that we see moving forward in the direction of this pole shift. It's a magnetic pole shift, and it's very hard to understand because there's so many pieces, but it fits together perfectly scientifically. Randall Carlson is very laid back and easy, so to get information from him takes a while. The next person I found and has become a friend is Doug Vaught, who has been researching this for 40 years. A Jewish man that has taken a number of trips to Syria and uncovered a lot of things, and I can give you his research, and I have shared it, and I can tell you that it is very deep relative to physics and numbers. I'm going to attempt to share it eventually. And then Jason Brashears, he's more mystical and talks about the storyline and narrative and signs that we've been given in mystical ways. The phoenix, for example, and it all fits together into myths. I did the work to verify it. Those people and also suspicious observers has some good information. Now let me tell you that suspicious observers, they say, is more scary than the rest. Randall is more laid back, so you almost have to get his knowledge from osmosis and from his conversations. And then Doug is very, very detailed. There is an association, a Russian-Ukraine association called Creative Society that has what I believe is a sinister outlook, a very liberal outlook that puts out some information, and Doug has spoken for them a couple of times, but doesn't really like them. Doesn't like where they're going. Okay. You're going to have to go through some depression. This is a huge loss. Our future is limited. Well, is it really? No. Maybe the Earth's future is limited. It would be nice if we'd have known that. The people in charge have known it since the beginning. Yeah, it was predicted in myths. And then in the 1700s, they realized it. And again, in the 1800s, they confirmed it. And then in the 1900s, they began hiding it and changing all the books. And I'll show you. I've got books and books showing how cleverly they deceived the world. I guess they think that they are going to be able to get by. And they might. And we can talk about that. Having understood the depth of the deception, I can begin to see now everything that's been hidden in the big plan. I should have known that the Master Creator would never have left us this way. I've known for a while, but I haven't had the nerve to be obedient, to share the worst news of anyone's lifetime. How do we prepare? How do we plan? How do we explain? How do we help? The biggest thing is the unknown, so we need to understand this thing and what we're walking into. There's so many questions. I'm prepared to explain and to share. My goal is to be a courageous humanitarian. When the questions start coming, I want to have the answers. We all have a choice every day, every minute, to embrace truth, to choose courage, to get healthy, and to stay strong. The greatest fear is the unknown. We now know what to expect, so we can make choices of integrity and grace moving forward. Many people won't be able to handle the next few years, the next 20 years. Leaders are being called to a higher place, not the leaders that we see, the leaders that God chose, like you and me, the ones that are being called now to rise up today. We need to get truth, understanding, and wisdom. We need the knowledge that gives us power. I won't quit. If this is my journey, let it be. Let's face it together. There are some good parts. The CIA knew about the Gateway Method back in the 50s and hid it from us. But there are wonderful benefits to learning to manifest and meditate and use this great power inside us. And that's going to be my goal, is to bring humanity home with the truth, to teach why Jesus was the biggest lie ever perpetrated on society, and why our government is not what we think, and our leaders are not who we think. It's not great news, but you know what? It's the news that we've been given, and we'll do everything we can to move forward in power.